local businesses from the highway, and they became, in Michigan, implemented, and in many other places too, implemented as kind of bypass traffic routes if there was a problem on the highway, or ways to get around a downtown area so you don't have to go through it. I think that statement bypass to a bypass is meaning that it's both bypass to downtown and a bypass to the highway, rather than being a place to go to. And what we're trying to do with the kind of the plan is to reimagine Mission Street as a real business route, which is a way to access not only the businesses on Mission Street from some of the other corridors, but also using Mission Street as a primary corridor, and of course the actual link to where downtown is. So that's the long answer. The short answer is, if it's a little unclear, maybe we should rewrite it a little bit. But what we're trying to do is, tell a story, a compelling story.
It kind of reflects to just some of our local history, which is in a lot of ways not unique to Mount Pleasant, of concerns developing as new commercial districts have developed, or as new traffic circulation patterns have been created. So in the 40s and 50s and 60s, as Mission Street became more and more built out and commercialized, concerns from downtown about the impact of businesses there. As US 127 was developed as an interstate rather than the old road that would have gone down Mission Street, there's an abundance of contemporaneous articles about the concern from the community that it was going to kill Mount Pleasant. You all would have, I think, been in the area when, maybe not Corey, when 127 was the bypass in St. John's. And you may recall, so old 27 used to run through the business loop, which bypassed downtown St. John's, but had retail development. And then when the interstate portion of 127 opened, there was a lot of concern about the economic impact to St. John's as a result of that. So I think that's also what they're trying to get to here, is that the same type of concerns were expressed and have been expressed in Mount Pleasant over time, as those different transportation route designations have shifted and been constructed over the past several decades.
And so if Mission Street gets turned into a grand boulevard, if you're going to go there, you have to want to go there, not through it, but to it. Is that the idea?
Well, I think it's a recognition of data that we've collected over the past decade, which really shows that Mission's function is largely as a local route. Is a local route. It's an access route for people who live in Mount Pleasant and the area to access things in Mount Pleasant and the area. It's not serving a function as a state trunk line. And sometimes that's where the design decisions that are made on Mission Street are meant to make a state trunk line focus rather than the actual utilization of the street, which is to provide access to businesses and residences and a space for people in the city of Mount Pleasant to go to. And so the design concepts you'll see in this master plan, kind of building on previous design concepts, is about changing that paradigm, that this isn't just a way for somebody from Lansing to drive to Traverse City. They're not driving down Mission Street to do that. The Mission Street hasn't served that role since the interstate opened in the late 60s. And so what role should Mission Street play in our economy? What role is it already playing? And how can we make sure the design is appropriate for that role?
I'd also like to commend McKenna for attending last spring when this public input was going on. I noticed there was a wide variety of stakeholders in the community attending. Obviously, the more diversity of stakeholders we have is representative of the city's residents overall, including students who tend to be underrepresented in visions for Mount Pleasant's future. The greater diversity of people we have going to that, the more ideas we have to sift and winnow through to make a better plan. And so I also appreciate that you had those synopses of individual comments on there, especially when it's easy for a lot of us to sit in echo chambers about, well, this won't work in town here, or we need this or that. To actually see what happens when you put a wide variety of stakeholders together, you get probably some suggestions that do seem kind of surprising in there, but it's also a testament to the idea that there are a lot of different ideas circulating in the community about what So thanks for setting that up this spring in a way that elicited those ideas.
Very good point, thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, what does a University Avenue connector connect?
Well, it connects the university to downtown. Of course, it already exists, but the idea behind calling that out as a kind of special corridor and a special connection is really to raise university and the level of prominence to, really what it actually is in the system. The rendering that we made kind of for the civic treatment or design space out in Illinois and university, it really was to recognize that what we need is a northern terminus for University Avenue in downtown. And when we were studying the terminus, the actual terminus in downtown, we really feel like that the town center is that terminus, but it doesn't work as a viewscape terminus because you got to go around the corner. So what we needed to do was create something that really aligned that, and that's what you're seeing kind of in our town and gown section where we talk about creating this kind of civic stopping place at the south end of downtown.
And that's also partially in response to the CMU master plan, which envisions changes to Warner Mall. I'd encourage you, if you probably haven't stopped in the middle of the street to take a look either direction, but next time you're at the library, so Corey, I'll expect you to do this tomorrow. If you just step into the crosswalk and look to the south, you can see the seal that's located at the end of University Street and Bellows Street. And in the distance, if you squint, you can make out Warner Hall. And the university envisions opening that mall up so that that view of Warner Hall is more prominent, so that when you're in downtown Mount Pleasant, you'd actually be able to observe that the university's there. And the idea here is that the reverse would also be true. If you're at University in Bellows, we want you to realize that there's something down the street that you can access. We don't have a ready opportunity to do that, as Paul said, on the other streets that currently are sort of the principal routes between downtown and the university. And so this is just another opportunity. By moving it a few blocks south, it helps to enhance the civic prominence of the library. In the past, University Street had many of the city's our municipal building was on University Street, the library, the post office. It was an important street. It was the important street running through our town. And so this is just starting to kind of go back to that, to provide, as Paul said, something that if I'm walking down University Street, I can see from a distance when I'm heading downtown that might entice me to keep going. And one thing we've heard over and over again in this planning process and the zoning process and past master planning process is a desire to have better connection between downtown and the university. More students in our downtown, more faculty in our downtown. And this is part of that, is helping to raise awareness. I had a chance to speak with some students in one of Commissioner Leach's classes earlier today, and he saved me the trouble of asking my normal question about housing, what they're looking for, but also about downtown. And a few of them stated, well, I didn't really know there was a downtown until I was a junior, which is obviously frustrating. That's not something we should be proud of. And it's certainly not something that a sculpture in and of itself is going to fix. But this is just one thing that could be done that's relatively low cost, relatively simple, that could have an impact in just making people understand there is something down that road that might be worth your time to go and explore.
Anyone else? Any comments? Thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it, thank you for the great comments.
Next item on the agenda is staff report. Mr. Hain?
Thank you, Madam Chair. At your next meeting, I'll have an administrative review report. We approved an administrative site plan on Monday, which was after your packet went out, so we'll be sure that that's included in a more formal way in your November meeting packet. I am anticipating at least one special use permit application next month and site plan review for a rooming dwelling on South Washington Washington Street. Also tentatively planning to put together a work session for you all to talk about two-family dwellings. I know that topic came up in a recent meeting. Should have time to put together some background information just to provide some historic context for how we are where we are with regard to how we regulate two-family dwellings, and let you all have an opportunity to have some discussion on that topic. That's all I have for now.
Thank you. Have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.